Welcome. It's another edition of Coffee with a Goose. You know, we talk about things that are interesting, fascinating, irritating, maybe a little bit of all three, and we cover a lot of different subjects. But now as the next Manny Pacquiao saga continues, the next Pacquiao fight is coming up soon. We're going to focus, for the most part, on boxing, and I know you guys enjoyed this. And I got to hurry up because my beautiful wife, Raquel, is about to make mango smoothies, so, hey, you know, life is good. Right? But before we do the smoothies and before we do the show, we got to have a little caffeine, right? It keeps the motor running. My coffee, as you know, very strong, like my opinion, and got some creamer in there to make it sweet, just like me. And I try to be sweet. Anyhow, more boxing news. Now, we're not into revenge, okay? That's not a very Christian thing to do. We're just having fun. All right, so don't get mad at me. I'm not into that. But in a way, this is revenge if Manny Pacquiao fights Terence Crawford. First of all, it's going to be a great fight, and it's looking like that's going to be the case. It's Pacquiao, the legendary 8-division world champion, maybe the greatest boxer of all time, to take on one of the champions in the welterweight division, the undefeated Terence Crawford, who is 37-0 with 28 knockouts. The real drama here, the real soap opera, is not Terence Crawford. It's his promoter, Bob Arum of Top Rank Boxing. As you probably remember, Bob Arum used to be Manny Pacquiao's promoter for many, many years. Now, there's no hard feelings, okay? I'm sure Pacquiao feels the same way. Bob Arum's a great promoter. He goes back 40, 50 years. He's been doing this a long time. And he's one of the reasons Pacquiao is so wealthy and so revered. And, you know, he set all these fights up. You got to give Bob Arum credit. But the marriage ended on a very sour note a few years ago. And that was when Manny Pacquiao fought Jeff Horn. The fight took place in Australia outside in the daytime. Okay. And of course, Jeff Horn is from Australia. So it just kind of smelled bad right from the beginning. And ironic, it was kind of weird from a personal standpoint because I watched it in the Philippines at the time. And strangely enough, I was all by myself watching this. It was really weird. And it was frustrating. Oh, drove me nuts. First of all, Jeff Horn had no business being in the ring with Manny Pacquiao. He had only fought 16 times, I think, at the time. And with all credit, all respect to Jeff Horn, he's a great guy, but he had no business being in there. And it was dirty from the beginning. Watch the fight if you can stomach it. It was all elbows and headbutts and cheap shots and clinching, and the referee was in on the scam. It was horrible. I was so frustrated. And even with all of that dirty fighting, all of that nonsense, all of that, let's be honest, corruption, Pacquiao beat the snot out of that boy. And the next, what was the 11th round, Jude? The referee came to Jeff Horn's corner and says, I'm going to stop this. He's going to, your fighter's just getting the, the bejesus beaten out of him. He's beaten, taken behind the woodshed like a naughty stepchild. And you look at Jeff Horn's face and look at Manny Pacquiao's face after the fight. Come on. Jeff Horn got, run over by a train twice. He got the snot beat out of him. But yet, he got the decision. He won the fight. It was so bad that one of the announcers, Teddy Atlas, you remember him, great trainer and commentator.
You're supposed to get it for winning. And I thought Pacquiao won the fight.
Actually interviewed Jeff Horn after the fight. And instead of saying, oh, were you surprised or congratulations? He says, you know damn well you didn't win that fight, Jeff.
I thought you lost. But great effort. I thought this guy was landing the punches. You were throwing a lot that were missing.
It was great to watch. It didn't change the outcome. But to get back on track here, it was a Bob Arum creation. And Bob Arum, I don't want to come down too hard on him. He was the one who created the whole thing. And he cried after the fight, oh, we're going to try and get this reversed. Oh, it's horrible, horrible. And everyone's looking at Bob Arum like, You're behind this. You're the reason this happened. It was boxing, and you guys know boxing is a dirty game. And you have robberies. That happens. Every fighter is the recipient or on the winning end of a bad decision. It's just the way it is. It's always been a dirty game. But this was just too much. And that's when Manny Pacquiao said, you know what? I've had enough of Top Rank and Bob Arum, and he moved away. He went to PBC, which is Floyd Mayweather's company. And it has been said by some people that the reason he joined PBC is because Al Heyman, the head of PBC, promised that he would get a rematch with Floyd Mayweather. Well, that didn't happen. But still, it was a blessing for Pacquiao to get away from Top Rank and, call his own shots. And he certainly deserves to do that. And lo and behold, he's fought 3 times since then. Who did he defeat? Adrian Broner, Batiste, another champion, and then Keith Thurman about a year and a half ago. So it was a blessing, actually, in the end, that Pacquiao was able to get away from Top Rank and make his own decisions, and good for him, And there's no love lost between the two, but they still respect each other. And hopefully, if this Terence Crawford fight comes through, I should say, it will be the first opportunity for Manny Pacquiao to face a top-ranked fighter. A little bit of revenge, right? Now, why hasn't it happened before? Well, it makes perfect sense. You want to keep everything in-house, right? Keep the money in-house. Why share a bout with another company? You have to share the winnings, share the profits. Why do that if you don't have to? And now I think Bob Arum has heard loud and clear that people respect Terence Crawford, but he should and could do a lot better, even though he's undefeated. The only criticism that we have of Terence Crawford is that he hasn't really fought any real great fighters. And Pacquiao, you don't get any greater than that. So it's going to be a little revenge on Bob Arum. I really believe that. It should be a great fight, by the way. Even though I've already started to, unpackage take some layers off the potential fight and kind of figure out what's going to happen and who's got certain advantages in certain areas. I'll give you a couple little examples here without getting into too many details. We'll get into that later on after the fight is announced officially. I think it was Roy Jones Jr., great fighter for many years. He's retired now. Saw an interview with him recently, and the announcer, the interviewer said, Roy, what advantage? Why is it Pacquiao, now at the age of 42, isn't just a champion, which is enough, but he still has so much power and still so feared, and he still has that knockout capability? Why is that? And Roy Jones Jr. immediately answered, he said, it's the legs. It's all in the legs. And that is true with many sports. Basketball, still play basketball. Keep your legs strong. You're going to shoot well. Baseball, same thing. Tennis, you name it. The legs are the core of your strength. And boxing, what is the one thing, and this, I don't think a lot of people know this about boxers, what is the one exercise that they do far more than anything else, anybody else? Running. They run and they run and they run endlessly. It's the legs. And Manny Pacquiao's got the legs. He's got a football player's legs. And his calves, my God, that's where the power is. And another thing you want to keep track of and keep in mind when it comes to preparing for a fight, or any sporting event for that matter, habits. What are your opponent's habits, good and bad? Because habits are something that always stay with you, right? You can change little things about your game and your personality, or your persona, but habits, some things just stay with you. You can't change them. And boxing it's especially true in boxing. Pacquiao's got habits, and if his opponents are smart and do their homework, they'll pick up on that, and and take advantage of those, bad habits. The same thing is true with Terrence Crawford. He's got bad habits too. And I've already, seen a few of those. So, and Freddie Roach and Manny Pacquiao are looking at the chops, watching these videos. See that? Yep. Going to take advantage of that. But we'll get into that later. It's going to be a great fight, but they're already doing their homework and their analysis of their opponents, Pacquiao and Terrence Crawford. So it's going to be a great fight, and the build-up, the anticipation is going to be fantastic. Pacquiao fights are always great, right? That's it for this edition of Coffee with the Goose. Let the revenge begin with Pacquiao and Bob Arum, right? If you have any comments, I know you do. Let me know what you think. I love to read them, and maybe learn a few things, and we'll respond to a couple of them. And we'll bring more Pacquiao boxing coverage to you. Hopefully we'll get that announcement very soon. All right? Stick with me. You guys take care.